This is what I can't imagine, because a lot of times people at that young age, they're not thinking about serving their community in that way. They're really just trying to think about surviving. The fact that you actually took those steps, that shows right there that this was something that you were definitely meant to be doing. That's a call that you get, right? When you get the call in your heart to do something, it doesn't come for everyone.
Yeah.
Every time someone gets a call to do something, everyone doesn't get the same call. So I think, starting that support group was really part of your plan, really part of your mission on this earth, Fallon, truly. So
Thank you.
tell me about once you get married and all of these things that people probably think can't happen in their lives that you've been very fortunate to have. Some people think, oh, I can't date, I can't get married, and all of these
Mhm.
things. But through serving others, maintaining that positivity, that light, you're able to attract these blessings. I really think that's the way to do it.
Mhm.
Keeping that positive and serving others, you find that light within yourself,
Mhm.
right?
Yes, thank you. It what's been so beautiful is just how putting myself out there and just being authentic to my journey and not really seeking anything, which has been really neat. It's that I put it out there and it came to me and it all felt really natural and meant to be. And during that pivotal time of starting college and being so sick at 18 and 19, I didn't have that time to find out who I was. So I think once I started the support group, I started to discover what I enjoyed and what I was capable of. And that really invigorated me. And it's been a long time doing it. And it's like every day I get more and more excited about it. I really appreciate having this passion for this long because I feel like sometimes people can go their whole lives wondering what to do. And I really feel fortunate that I've been able to turn these health challenges into something meaningful to help others.
So you've written countless articles, you've traveled internationally. What do you recall as some of the most impactful moments or things that you've contributed over the years during this time where you've just started your career, and some things that where you feel like you made the most impact with your speaking, your writing, and your consulting? Where do you feel like you've made the most impact?
Oh gosh, I feel like there's been different chapters to it where something as small as speaking to a handful of people at a support group to being on a stage with hundreds of people, it has its own special impact to it. Um, there have been, gosh, I really, really loved speaking in Canada when the launch of tolvaptan happened. The first treatment for polycystic kidney disease was released first in Canada before the United States. And they had a gala to celebrate it and invited me to come and share my PKD story and represent the community. And that to me blew me away. I just didn't know if I'd live to see the day that a treatment would be found, let alone have the opportunity to represent our amazing community and to stand there and think of my grandmother who passed away and hoping that she'd be proud of me. She fought so hard through PKD, and to think that I was standing there sharing our family journey. I think there's been surreal moments like that where it almost feels like it's like out of body, like I'm watching a movie or something because it's just so extraordinary. And that was a really special moment. My last speaking engagement right before the pandemic was at Barnes Jewish Hospital. That's where I received my liver transplant, and I was a year and a half post liver transplant. They were celebrating the hospital reaching the milestone of performing their 10,000th transplant, and they invited me to come and speak and represent the 10,000 transplants and share my journey. And it was hundreds of people in the audience and just people that played such a pivotal role in transplantation. And to think of having the opportunity just was really humbling to do that. And that felt like it was so hard to believe, thinking of where I was a year and a half before then, waiting for the call, not knowing if I'd live, and then fast forward a year and a half later, and there I was continuing to do the work that I'm so passionate about and being healthy and having restored health. So these moments just really, they just really empower me, and they fuel my passion to keep going and keep fighting and staying as healthy as I can and trying to use the lessons that I've learned to help other people. And And just recently, a couple of days ago, I spoke at a virtual support group. There was a handful of people, and I shared
Right.
my story, and the conversations that happened afterwards were so touching. And that's why when I think about it, each opportunity along the way has meant so much to me. It doesn't have to be a big audience. It can be a handful of people where we're sharing this, intimate conversation about how we're connected on this journey. So each step has really meant a lot to me because it's gotten me to where I am today.
That's so important, the steps, the baby steps. And before we get to the fact that you've raised $1.3 million in support of these causes, let's talk about when you finally thought you were in your groove, living your life, and you were at a high point. You then have to deal with this liver transplant. What was going on in your mind when you thought, like, oh my God, here we go again,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Where was that mentally? Did you think that this was going to happen? Did you think this was the end? Did you say, God, why me? I've already been through this already. What was going on in your mind when they told you needed a new liver?
It was really devastating. I learned a lot from receiving a transplant as a teenager versus an adult. You're in very different position in life. And I received my kidney transplant from a living donor, and I was on the wait list to receive a liver transplant from a deceased donor. So both of these different aspects were, just really new experiences for me. And there isn't dialysis for a liver like there is a kidney. I had no bridge or lifeline like I did with my first transplant. I knew I received a liver or I didn't. I survived or I didn't. And the gravity of that was just awful. I remember my husband's extraordinary, and we just put our heads down and we're doing our best to move forward and be able to get a transplant. And I remember having a conversation with his mom. We were out for a drive, and I asked my mother-in-law, I said, do you think Noah thinks that I'm going to die? I just wondered what he thought. And I hated the thought of that. And I think I really tried to hold on to having something to fight for was really important for me. So I thought to myself, I hated that vision of him being a young widow. And I just used that for strength and just saying, like, I'm going to get another transplant. I'm going to be okay. But in reality, I didn't know what post liver transplant was going to look like. Like
Mm.
I all of a sudden became just not the wife I wanted to be. I was so weak. Just having a conversation with Noah, sometimes he'd ask a question and I felt so exhausted, like I just couldn't even get the energy to answer him. And I got so scared with how I felt day to day. And I didn't know what would I look like in the sense of how I would feel and how life would be if I'd get a liver transplant. And then to fight so hard and get listed, and we temporarily relocated out of state, and to get the liver, and to now be on the other side, and my kidney did well through it. And now I'm the healthiest that I've been in years. And now looking back, I realized how sick I was even long before I was diagnosed and knew I needed a liver transplant. And we sort of thought I was like, I really just climbed that PKD mountain and had a lot of it behind me. It's just a year in the hospital, both kidneys removed, transplant. We didn't think it would come back into life later like this, and another organ. I have learned so much through it, and I'm blown away every day that now I was given a second chance at life. And I think that gratitude and purpose that I had after kidney transplant has now taken just new heights and new level. Once I woke up from my liver transplant, it's like I could feel the energy of gratitude, and I knew for sure you don't receive a second chance at life just by chance. And I knew I was here for a reason, and I wake up with that passion every morning.